You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere. This is your WCFW Daily News Roundup for 105.7 CFW in Chippewa Falls and 93.5 The Tap in Eau Claire.
For WCFW News, I'm James Kelly. An Eau Claire business is looking to improve roadway safety in their neighborhood by getting a new stop sign installed. Officials from Rocket Construction say they're donating the money needed for the Eau Claire City Council to install flashing stop signs at the intersection of Damon Street and London Road. They say the flashing signs will cost about $3,500 and could be installed within a month. The City Council is also looking to add a flashing stop sign on Whipple Street near Mayo Clinic due to increasing traffic at the hospital. Residents along the Wisconsin and Minnesota border now have a new public access area along the St. Croix River available to them. This week, the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources opened the new public water access for boating, fishing, and recreational use in Oak Park Heights near the St. Croix Crossing Bridge across the state border. The new public water access area features 35 parking spots and a double boat launch. It also features an area where visitors can clean their boats and gear to prevent aquatic invasive species spread. The Aging and Disability Resource Center of Barron and Rusk counties is inviting residents to register for their Healthy Living with Diabetes workshop. The 6-week program starting May 7th will offer participants evidence-based strategies to integrate with traditional treatment, like adding nutritious foods and appropriate exercise to their daily routines. The program is open to adults with type 1 or type 2 diabetes, as well as family members and caregivers who support them. Pre-registration for the program must be completed by April 30th. Governor Tony Evers and the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources have announced over 10 million trees were planted in the state last year. According to a press release, Wisconsin's Trillion Trees Pledge 2024 annual report found that nearly 10.7 million trees were planted over more than 57,000 acres. The report also found the state has covered over 40% of its 75 million tree goal by 2030. Governor Evers signed an executive order to pursue the pledge in 2021. The state has also reached over 60% of its forest conservation goal. The Wisconsin Department of Health Services says fewer underage kids in the state are using tobacco and vape products. According to a recently released report, the state saw underage vape and tobacco use drop from 13.6% in 2023 to under 12% last year. Officials say raising the tobacco sales age from 18 to 21 in 2019 has contributed to the decrease, as well as public awareness campaigns and community action. The study also found tobacco and vape shops are still selling to underage kids at a 30% higher rate than other retailers. The Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development is looking for employers in the state who hire and retain veterans for the Vets Ready Employer Initiative. According to a press release, the Department of Workforce Development will begin accepting applications for the program through July 18th. The program seeks to honor and provide assistance to organizations in the state that hire veterans, helping them attract and retain even more veteran employees. Organizations can apply for the program in person or online through the Vets Ready website. As the state budget process plays out over the next couple of months, Western Wisconsin is in danger of losing the $15 million of emergency funding allocated in the wake of the HSHS closures. The funding is currently at the center of a legal challenge after Governor Tony Evers used line-item vetoes to make it more flexible, leading the state legislature's Joint Committee on Finance to refuse to release the funding. If a new biennial budget is adopted at the end of June as expected, that $15 million would be returned into the general fund. A Western Wisconsin child care organization now has a permanent location in Durand. Officials from the Family Resource Center say the organization is setting up a non-mobile office in the Durand Business Center after running through programs through partnerships with libraries, schools, and businesses in the region. The Family Resource Center is part of Western Dairyland's Child Care Partnership and offers programs like Play and Learn events and parent education workshops. The organization will hold an open house at their new home on Monday. The Wisconsin Department of Administration shared rules with state employees on how to interact with immigration authorities on Friday. According to the memo, state workers were advised to contact their agency's legal counsel in the event of a visit from immigration officers. It also advises staff to refuse to hand over documents or computer access to immigration authorities before consulting with their legal counsel. State employees were also advised not to answer questions or give immigration officers access to non-public areas. Wisconsin lawmakers are introducing legislation to more closely reflect new HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s national agenda. One bill would ban residents from using the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program to purchase candy or soda. Another would ban ultra-processed food from school lunches. Menominee Republican Representative Clint Moses says the state legislation would be more specific and targeted than national efforts. A similar bill was proposed in 2015 but never reached then-Governor Scott Walker's desk. For WCFW News, I'm James Kelly.
The Brewers blast the Giants. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Baseball last night in San Francisco. Top of the 6th. Bases loaded. Christian Yelich at the plate on FanDuel, Wisconsin.
2-2 coming. Fly ball center field. Back goes Lee. He is still back, and it is gone. A grand slam for Christian Yelich opens this ball game wide open.
It was Yelich's first grand slam in 3 years. Milwaukee went on to win 11-3 over the Giants. A lot of contributions from the crew. Pat Murphy.
Trang sticks out. Yelich sticks out. Those guys were amazing. Bowers getting a start once in a while and hit a homer later in the game to keep adding on. A lot of good Durbin. A lot of good offensive performances today.
NBA, the Bucks losing to the Pacers 123-115. Indiana leads the series 2-0. Game 3 Friday night.
We'll just see. I'm very confident about this series. Very.
At Stock Rivers with Sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. I identify with that film, in which there is an implicit reference to St. Francis. Those are the words of Pope Francis, who passed away last Monday at the age of 88. The Pope was referring to the film La Strada by Federico Fellini, which was his favorite. As it turns out, he was quite the cinema buff. The Pope said in an interview about 10 years ago he was always a fan of movies dating back to his childhood in South America, adding that he owes his love for the big screen to his parents for taking him to the theater at an early age. Pope Francis said he identified with the teachings of St. Francis of Assisi due to the themes of love and suffering. Probably no surprise, that was the inspiration for his chosen papal name. Video game adaptations are alive and well, and it seems they will be with us for a long time, or until they run out of video games to adapt. Universal Studios is jumping into said world and teaming up with director Michael Bay and producer Sydney Sweeney to bring Outrun to the big screen. There is no cast attached yet, as the project is in the early stages of development. Will there ever be a sequel to The Big Lebowski? If Jeff Bridges and Julianne Moore had their say, it would be absolutely. Unfortunately, it is the Coen brothers, Joel and Ethan, who seem against the idea. The Coen brothers have not made a sequel to any of their work, although Bridges said they do tend to surprise people sometimes. In addition to no sequels, the brothers also have not made a film together since 2018's The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. When he's not trying to sell you his own products like Aviation Gin or Mint, Ryan Reynolds actually makes films. He starred opposite Hugh Jackman in 2024's Deadpool and Wolverine. Recently, Jackman took a good-natured swipe at his pal Reynolds by telling a crowd at Radio City Music Hall that Jackman was curiously left out of a dance scene in the film. Don't worry, there is no awkwardness. Jackman did assure everyone in the crowd they are bros for life. Thank goodness for that. The critically acclaimed show Heartstopper, which ran for 3 seasons on Netflix, will wrap everything up with a feature film. The show follows the stories of Charlie, an openly gay student, and his schoolmate Nick, a rugby player. Joe Locke and Kit Connor, who starred in the TV show, will both appear in the film, which will also be under the Netflix banner and will pick up where season 3 left off. If you're looking for something that is a bit mindless, but a good shoot-'em-up with a feel-good ending, check out A Working Man. The film stars Jason Statham as a mild-mannered construction worker, single father, and former Special Forces soldier charged with finding his boss's kidnapped daughter. The movie is a bit stereotypical, but seems to throw out one challenge after another as Statham's character works his way through the hierarchy of a criminal enterprise. A Working Man received about 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, which seems about right, but it's a fun watch. The film is now available to rent on various streaming platforms. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
We'll see a little sunshine this morning with scattered afternoon showers or even a thunder shower possible. Our high today in the upper 60s. Tonight, scattered showers with a low in the low to mid 40s. Tomorrow, more scattered rain with a high in the low 60s. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Outside now, it's 46.
That's your WCFW and the TAP Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at WCFW.FM or thetap.fm. The national news cycle never stops. but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.